Hello, everyone. How you all doing? Special live stream today. Very breaking news that just happened not too long ago. And let a few of you come in, see if anyone else gets a notice from YouTube. How you doing, Pilgrim Prepper, ABC Patriot, Keith? How you doing from Arizona? Gene W, Flower Cats, Naomi, Anita Johnson, Ma too is here. How you doing, Ma? Me and my shadow, 1234. How are you? T. Niemeyer or Niemeyer. TNT is here. Capital Carol. Captain Skellbones. How you doing? Oh, goodness. Low blood pressure's in the house. Bex 1959. John Norris. Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Let me let a few more of you come in. Yeah. Hey, how you doing, low blood pressure? What's up, brother? Good to see you. Me and Michael and I were talking about you yesterday, low blood pressure. Michael and I were talking about you. Steph L, how you doing? MTC Limber. Tommy Applesauce, how you doing? Max Havoc. I'm not going to take too long, ladies and gentlemen. I'll probably stay on for about half an hour or so, and I'm going to put this out right now. I am not going to have a live stream tomorrow, all right? Tomorrow I will not have a live stream. I've been burning the candle from both ends, so tomorrow needs to be a day of rest for me, and I'm going to take that day off. So no live stream tomorrow, but hopefully I'll make up with it with this one here, because this is definitely breaking news. And it's something that I believe we will look back in history. Now, before I start, I want to say that the credit for this goes to the economic ninja, right? The economic ninja. So if you look at the notes, if you look at the description of this video, the video that he put up about this is linked there, and the article is as well. All right. This has to be known by everyone. So please share this. In my opinion, this is history in the making. We are living through history right now, and I think this is huge news, which is why you probably won't hear about it too much in the mainstream media. So please share this and go over and check out Economic Ninja's video as well. Like I said, all of the credit goes to him. I would not have known this unless it was for the Economic Ninja putting out his video, but I understand that not everyone here in this community is subscribed to him. I would recommend that you do, because he's got an awesome channel and he's a good person. All right. That's a big deal to me, is that he's a good person. So go check him out. But we have to talk about this. And like I said, this is probably only going to run about half an hour, 40 minutes at the most, because I do have a show that I've been invited to tonight. So Mike in the Night is a show that I will be appearing in tonight, and it is going to be posting on Odyssey. So if you're on Odyssey, go check it out. I'll be on with him in about an hour and 10 minutes or so. All right. But we have to talk about this now. Let's see who else we have here. I'm going to spend about another 2 minutes just saying hello to some of you that have come in. Hello, Summer Velasquez. How you doing? Julia, how are you? E.T. Patricia Lopez, Sister Rabbit. How you doing? Angel Tippett, how are you? How you doing, Janie? Good to see you. Susan, how are you? Good to see you. Mina B, how are you? Karen, how are you? Good to see you all. Thank you for joining in, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me, I'm not going to let you down. This is definitely not clickbait. This is huge news. Huge news. John, how you doing? One more minute of saying hellos. Doctor, I'm not excited about this news at all, ladies and gentlemen, but it is news that we need to hear. Everyone needs to hear this, because it is going to affect how we can prepare for the future. How you doing, Blue? Good to see you. Thank you for joining in. Jennifer Cruz is here. Sue S, Heather K, Yarn Prepper, thank you for making it. I appreciate that. Tip Top Girl. Yes, isn't that breaking news, Luis? Incredible. Sweet savory words. How are you doing? Don't you know? Donna Southwood, how are you doing? It's not really, well, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. It's something that we've been expecting would happen sooner than later, but it's been going on for a long time. So here we go. I'm going to bring it all the way down, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not going to spend too much time today with salutations, because this is something we have to talk about. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on the screen, and I'm going to read a little bit of this with you. Yes, absolutely, Mads. You got it. You got it, Mads. You got it. So let's go ahead and see what we got going on. Check this out. Russia and China officially announced a new global reserve currency. Now, I'm not sure about you all, but when I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness, it's actually happening. They have been preparing for this for years. And I've stated in the past, and you can archive this, I don't remember what video or anything like that, but I've stated that I thought that this, or I still think that this thing that's going on with Ukraine right now and Russia, that's more of a smokescreen than anything else. And why do I say that? The reason I said that is because, in my opinion, Russia could have taken Ukraine in a couple of weeks, and they haven't. Russia did not invade Ukraine in a way that a country as powerful as them militarily could have invaded them and taken them over. They never destabilized their water system, their power system, their sewage system, none of that. On the contrary, they just signed a contract between Ukraine and Russia to allow Ukraine to start exporting grain. So in my opinion, I know that lives have been lost, right? I understand that, and I understand that it is a war. But I think that the bigger picture overall is that behind closed doors, while the world has been looking to the right, they've been working on the left. You know, I mean, let me say it in other words. That way people don't think it's political. While the world has been looking at the right hand, they've been working with the left hand and doing what they're just doing now. And I've talked about this in previous videos, that there are countries lining up to be able to trade bilaterally with themselves and with China and Russia and India in order to not have to be under the umbrella of the US dollar or the US Federal Reserve note. Not really the dollars, really the Federal Reserve note. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and say thank you very much, Susie. Thank you very much for that super chat. You're very generous, or super sticker. Thank you for that. And I want to say thank you to Van Roo. Thank you, Van Roo, for becoming a member of the Ladies and Gentlemen's Club. And what are the implications of this, ladies and gentlemen? Let me give you a little bit of background. We don't really have to read this entire thing, but here it says China and Russia are taking their shot at the US dollar. And as often happens with consequential news, with very important news in the United States and the West, no one seems to notice or even care. That's because this is not going to be touted on the mainstream media as loudly as it will be touted here on social media. Why, ladies and gentlemen? Because the mainstream media wants you to stay asleep to the fact that the US dollars or the US Federal Reserve notes dominance in the world is fading and has been fading for years. Eventually, there will come a time where the Federal Reserve note, i.e. the dollar as people call it, will have no relevance in the world. People will be like, I don't want that. I don't want that stuff. That's junk. And why is that so important for us here, the citizens of the United States of America, and also a lot of Western nations? There's, I think, like 8 or 9 countries that use the dollar as their main currency in their country. The reason is, ladies and gentlemen, is because the dollar is going to lose value. All right, it's going to lose value, not in its like the Dixie. You know how when you see the Dixie, the dollar right now is like at 106, 107. It may not lose value like that because they do not gauge the value of the dollar against these other countries. They only gauge the value of the dollar against just like 4 or 5 different countries. I believe one of them is China. But you've got China, you got Japan, you got Australia, you got the EU, the pound. And I believe that's it, in case I'm missing one. So it may not lose value on the charts that we see, that we generate, because those countries, or most of them, are not in the dollar, right? Most countries that are getting out of the dollar are not gauged with the dollar's strength or value. So you may not see its value coming down internationally as we gauge it now, but I guarantee you, Eventually, the purchasing power of the dollar units that you have in your pockets, in your bank accounts, in your 401ks, in your stocks, and equity in your home, whatever it may be, the purchasing power is going to go down dramatically, and it is going to affect the standard of living of everyone that has anything to do with the US Federal Reserve note. And this is why it's so important that we understand this, that we understand the repercussions that this is going to have on our lives. What does it mean? It means that our standard of living is going to be lower. Now, am I saying that this is going to happen tomorrow? It's not. It's going to take some time. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's the good news. The good news is that if it takes time, we have time to better prepare. I'm not going to talk about the things that you can do to protect yourself against the dollar and stuff like that, or a dollar collapse, because I'm not going to be giving any financial advice here. All right. But towards the end, I'll tell you all what it is that I do in order to protect myself or my purchasing power, whatever little bit of wealth I do have, against the dollar not being the world reserve currency anymore. We all knew that this was coming, especially when Jerome Powell, all right, who is the Federal Reserve chairman, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, when he, in an interview, or I think it was in a congressional interview, he wasn't in front of Congress, he was asked, do you think there's room for another reserve currency in the world? And he said yes. When he said that there is room for another reserve currency in the world, my jaw dropped, because that was him saying we are defeated. The dollar is no longer king. It's no longer looked at the way that it used to be looked at before. And I'm going to explain to you why it is that the dollar is no longer looked at the way that it was looked at decades ago, which it was the gold standard. No more, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to affect all of us. It's going to affect our children, and more than likely our children's children as well, because generational wealth is not in the dollar. And most people interact with dollar, at least here in the United States of America, or countries that are pinned against the dollar, meaning that the value of their currency depends on the value of the dollar. So let's see. Hey, Fat Man Prepper, how you doing? Good to see you, brother. Rich Wells passed away a few days ago. Really? That's too bad. R.I.P. How you doing, Hawkeye? Kevin Grip, how you doing? Stephen B. Thank you, Stephen. Governments around the world have declared war on their people. We wouldn't have a corrupt government if it wasn't for order followers, i.e., people that are more afraid of losing their jobs than people that have intestinal fortitude. Let me say that again. Intestinal fortitude, right? I think that's how you say it. That would rather do the right thing instead of the wrong thing. We used to use a phrase in the military when I was in the Army, and I said, I would rather take the hard right than to take the easy left, meaning that I would rather make the hard decision to do the right thing than to make the easy decision to do the wrong thing. And you're right. But we also do have to remember, Stephen, that we have good people in those places, in the military and in law enforcement, or Leos. We do have good people there. However, if they allow themselves to be exposed as patriots, they won't be there for long. So we do need to have some good people on the inside as well. And I think that I've stated this in the past, that what it comes down to, what our sovereignty comes down to as we the people, it will come down to whether we have to fight to the bloody end or not. It will come down to law enforcement and military. Are we going to have enough good people there to be able to, I guess in a way you can say, sabotage the plan of these evil doers? I guess I love the word evil doers because it reminds me of George Bush Jr. But yeah, I understand what you're saying there. Let me say something real quick. Okay, let me bring it down here really quick and we'll talk a little more about this. Okay. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. Okay, we good? Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, just so as you know, let me go ahead and put this up. I left the link to this article. I'm not going to read the whole article here with you. I just wanted to give you the gist of what it says. Pretty much that, hey, they are done with the dollar. They announced their own reserve currency. And guess what? They're inviting countries to come aboard And I think that a lot of countries will. I think that at least half of the world will end up coming aboard, if not more. And let me tell you why it is that, especially for us here in the United States, that's a very bad deal. Let me get rid of this. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, let's say that we end up having two world reserve currencies, one for the East and one for the West. Fine. Some people may say, well, that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. This is the problem that we will have here in the United States, that in order to have a currency that is not the entire world reserve currency, you need to make stuff. You need to have some value to that currency. And what we and when I say we, I mean our officials. I don't mean we the people. But what we in the US have done for decades, ever since I think it was 1973 or so, when Henry Kissinger went over to Saudi Arabia and made a deal with them that we would provide them with arms and would provide them with military security if they allowed, or if they made all of the OPEC nations, oil producing nations, sell their oil in dollars, right? Ever since then, what we've been doing is we've been printing dollars like crazy. And we've been sending those dollar bills across the border. We've been sending them to other countries, exporting them to other countries for things that people actually make with their hands. So think about it. Whenever we have a deficit, I think last year's deficit was about $1 trillion or so. Okay, so let's say it was either $1 trillion or $1.1 trillion, but let's say $1 trillion or so. That means that we received $1 trillion worth of real stuff from all different countries. I think our deficit with China was about 300 or 400 billion, but from all of the countries that we owed money to, that we actually gave money, that we printed out of thin air. So think about it. We received $1 trillion worth of goods, and we in turn gave them paper. Now, the world is waking up to this, and they've been awakened to this for a long time. The countries have been awakened to this for a long time. However, since the United States has the Federal Reserve, the reserve currency of the world, and the mightiest military of the world, countries would not challenge it. Well, guess what? A new player or some new players are in line now to take that over. We have new countries. We have China. We have Russia, who are now saying, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, U.S.? We're not the JAV team. We're not Iraq. We're not Afghanistan. We're not countries that don't have mighty militaries. We're not countries that don't have a nuclear arsenal like you do. So what are you going to do to us? There's nothing that we can do to them, ladies and gentlemen. Number one, if we do and it escalates to a nuclear, conflict, then everyone loses. Number one. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Number two, if we do go to a conventional war, let's say, with Russia or China, how are we going to fight that war when, number one, we are broke? All right, number one, we are broke and we don't produce anything. So if we go to war with one of these two countries, how are we going to fight that war? I mean, right now in the United States, we have a low supply of munitions because we've been sending it all to Ukraine. Right now in the United States, our strategic petroleum reserves are the lowest that they've been, I think, since like 1968 or something like that. I don't remember the date, but it's the lowest that has been in a long time. So if we go to war and oil is disturbed, how are we going to fight that war when our oil reserves are the lowest? We're actually draining that oil reserve and sending part of it to China. And that to me, the reason for that, in my opinion, is because China owns the government. They own this government. They pretty much get away with whatever they want to get away with. So what are we going to do to produce the munitions? Where are we going to get the raw materials to get that stuff? When we ourselves are, or when this administration itself is stopping the drilling of the raw materials and the mining of the raw materials that we need to fight this war if we go to war, right? So we're not, in my opinion, we are in no position to go to war. So what are these countries doing? They're taking advantage of that. They're taking advantage of that and finally saying to the United States that, hey, it's over. We're not playing your game anymore. And at any moment, they can stop. China can stop exporting to us what we need from them. We import most of our pharmaceutical ingredients from China and from India. And India, by the way, is one of those countries that has put out that their central bank is going to start accepting applications from other countries in order to do bilateral trading in their currency, in their rupee. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is such big news that, you know, tomorrow morning or Monday morning, it should be all over the mainstream media, blasting everywhere. But I may be wrong, but I doubt that it will be, because you, ladies and gentlemen, we, the American people, we have to be kept away from the truth. Because it's like Henry Ford stated one time. He said, if the American people knew the truth about our financial institutions, then there will be revolt in the morning. The people have to be kept away from the truth. So that's why I put this video out. Again, for those of you that maybe just joined in, all of the credit goes to the Economic Ninja. I got this information from him. He posted a video about this, but I had to put it out for those of you that maybe don't know about the Economic Ninja, are not subscribed. The link for his video is in the description of this video, and the link for the article that I showed you is on the description of this video as well. So go check it out for yourselves. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope that made sense to you when I talked about why it is that countries are ditching the US dollar and more than likely going to go to this new system that Russia and China have now created and announced that it's going to be using as a world reserve currency as well. I guess there's two now, whatever they come out with and the Federal Reserve note. Now, again, countries are tired of it, ladies and gentlemen. Ask yourselves a question on a personal basis. Are you not tired of all of the taxes you pay? I just read an article today that this administration is considering raising our taxes, not the taxes of the wealthy, but the taxes of the middle and upper middle class. What does that do, ladies and gentlemen? That makes the middle class get even smaller. And that is the goal. They have to eliminate the middle class so that they can end up with their two-tier society, their two-tier system of the haves and the have-nots. Because when you eliminate the middle class and make everyone equally poor, that's what it is, ladies and gentlemen, is making everyone equally poor, except for the very top 1/10 of 1%. It's easier for you to control that population. And that's what it's all about. I think you would all agree here with me that government is nothing but force and control. And they control you by force. That's how it is. Every law that is passed, if you break it enough, you will end up in an 8x8 cell at the barrel of a rifle or a gun. That's how it works. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so countries are tired. We have to prepare for this. How am I preparing for this? How have I been preparing for this? Because I knew that this day would eventually come. Well, ladies and gentlemen, be prepared. I have all of the things that I think so far that I need for an extended period of time. Today, I actually went to Costco and I ordered myself a new set of winter tires for one of my vehicles. Why? Because one of the sets of winter tires that I have now, they're getting pretty old. Well, I ordered them now because number one, they were on sale and they don't go on sale very often. And number two, I know that I'm going to need those tires within the next couple of years. So I even talked to the tire technician over there, the one that works in the tire center, and I asked him, hey, what's the best way for me to store these tires if I'm not going to be using them for the next couple of years? And he told me what to do. He said, make sure that you wrap them up really good. Hopefully some UV resistant material that you may have that reflects sunlight away from it. Try to keep it in shade, try to keep it cool. And best case scenario is to keep it in a temperature control room. But the point is that I'm looking ahead. I'm looking ahead to the next couple of years. That way, when this finally happens, we're going to have a rocky, I would say, several months to a year, if not more, meaning that our currency is going to be destabilized and losing value at a very rapid pace. Now, again, when I say losing value, what I mean is that you will lose purchasing power. Not necessarily that the value of it against the other countries or the other currencies that it's gauged against is going up or down, but that you, ladies and gentlemen, will be losing purchasing power. Get all of the things, or I get all of the things that I think I'm going to need. Get everything that you think you're going to need. Because why? Because most of the stuff that we get in the United States is imported. Most of the things that we get is imported. We don't make very many things. So expect imports to get a lot more expensive as well in the future if we're lucky enough to not enter into some kind of conflict where we have to have boots on ground, right? Where our soldiers have to go to another country because our government told them that they're our enemy. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So another way that I've been preparing for years is I've always been consistent in dollar cost averaging into precious metals. Yes, maybe not everyone can get precious metals because of your position in life, wherever you may be in, whatever you may be in life, whether you can afford it or can't afford it, or whatever. And I do understand that you can't eat silver or gold, but if you would have told that to someone in Venezuela right now, they're like, yeah, we can't eat it, but we are trading it for food. We are trading it for haircuts and everyday things. So that's a few of the ways that I'm preparing for the inevitable dethroning of the US Federal Reserve note. It's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. And again, make sure you understand, don't let your hair catch on fire. Make sure you understand that I'm not saying sell everything now and go and buy gold and silver. No, I always believe that slow and steady wins the race. We should have been preparing for years now, right? We should have all been preparing for years if we've seen what's been going on all over the world and especially in our country, right? But doing anything out of having a knee-jerk reaction to any news that you get is never a good thing. It's always a good thing to sit back, consume the information that you got, double check it and research it for yourself, and then you can sit down with your family and make a decision that works best for you. All right. So the way that I do preserve my wealth, my purchasing power, is by purchasing precious metals on top of having all my preps. So, for example, if someone were to ask me, hey, I don't really have all of the preps that I need for the next year, should I go buy gold and silver? I would say, hey, maybe go to the coin shop, every other week or every payday and buy yourself $20 worth of silver dimes. But make sure that you're getting your preps as stacked, stacking it up to the ceiling as much as you possibly can, because you're going to need that a lot more than gold and silver during the crisis. I believe that gold and silver, precious metals, is something that can be used after the crisis so that you can start over with some wealth, because you know that whatever new currency they push on us is not going to have the same purchasing power as what we have now. And when you go out and buy some gold and silver in a coin shop somewhere, what you're doing is you're preserving the purchasing power of that currency as of that day. As of the day that you bought that gold and silver, you're preserving the purchasing power as of that day. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So that's pretty much what I have for you. I thought that this information was way too important for me to do a video and then edit it and everything. So I thought that I'd do a live stream. So thank you very much for joining in. What do we have here? 27 minutes. We probably have about another 5 or 10 minutes. Let's do another 10 minutes, a quick Q&A. And to remind you all again, tomorrow I will not be having a live stream tomorrow. All right. So I will not be having a live stream tomorrow. All right. So let me bring it all the way down. And if you have any questions or if you want to share anything with the community, go ahead and put it all in caps. Okay. That way I can catch it. And like I said, probably about 10 minutes, because I really do have to get ready for this, I guess you can say, collaboration that I'll be doing with Mike in the Night over at Odyssey. Hey, how you doing, 10th Mountain? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Be cool. How you doing? How you doing, Big Preps? Yeah, Casey. As soon as I end this live stream, it'll go to YouTube like a regular video. Okay. Oh, you got your silver coin today, our city. Good for you, my friend. I'm glad that you got it. It's a pretty coin, isn't it? Very nice coin. How you doing, Soli? Good to see you, and thank you for the blessings. Thank you for that. Bless you as well. That's right, Anthony. That's right. A wise man will not react. I believe that you should take whatever information you have, take a look at it, research it for yourself, and then see if it makes sense. Hey, who knows? Who knows? Maybe Monday morning it may came out that, oh yeah, they changed their mind. They're not doing it anymore. But I think that the probabilities of that happening is probably pretty low. How you doing, Not Sorry Remote Alaska? Good to see you. AR, take a look at my Amazon storefront. I have the 3 grain mills that I have on there. One of them is an electric one, which is a very good one, but it's kind of pricey. But two of them are manual grain mills, and one is a little bit pricier than the other, but both of them are very good quality. And the cheaper one that I have there out of the three, I think it's only like $60, $67, and it is very good quality and it does a good job. So you may want to take a look at one of those. Man, I hope I'm coming in halfway okay, because we do have pretty lousy internet coverage today, because I think those solar storms are affecting our internet coverage. How you doing, Nova Scotia? Let's see, Frank, the Gideon Part 1 video, go ahead and take a look at, I do have a Gideon Part 1, but if you go to that link that I gave you, you can go to Part 1 from there. All right, so go ahead and take a look at the video that I put out that was directing you to my Patreon. If you go to my Patreon, Frank, that Part 1 of the Gideon video is there for free. You don't have to join Patreon. So if you go to Patreon, go take a look at the Part 1, and it's there for free. All right, you don't have to pay, you don't have to join or anything like that, but it's on there. I was surprised that YouTube allowed me to keep the Part 2 on YouTube, because I uploaded it and they didn't restrict it or anything like that. So that's good. Well, you know, comfortably numb, I think that the BRICS nations, I think that they already have decided what they're going to do. It's just they haven't told us. They've been planning this for years, trust me. And even China has been selling U.S. bonds, treasury notes, like crazy. I think they've sold like $100 billion worth of treasury notes in the last couple of months or so. So even China is selling them off. And we all know that Russia has pretty much sold off all of their U.S. treasury notes. No, absolutely not, Pink Panther. Silver is silver is silver. I would never melt them. All you're doing is expending energy for nothing. Even if it's a 40% silver coin, it's still worth its weight in silver. All right. So I would not melt them at all. And when you melt them, you're taking away that recognition. Like, for example, let's say I have a 90% quarter, a 1964 quarter from the US, which is 90% silver. If I keep it in that quarter form, people will recognize that it's a sovereign minted coin, and that has value. The recognition in it has value. If you just melt it down, then you're going to have to convince someone that, hey, this has 90% silver. So I definitely would not melt them down. Well, Prepper 911 asks, when do you feel things will happen? What does your gut say? Things are happening right now. They've been happening for the last several years. It's just they're happening in slow motion. All right. It's what I like to say about the situation that we've been in, especially with the Federal Reserve note in our government, is that we are a train that is headed towards a wall. And depending on what party is occupying that train, depends on how fast or how slow that train goes towards that wall. But no matter who's occupying that train, eventually that train is going to hit the wall, no matter what. So get your preps ready. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, preparing is very simple. Right? I'm not telling you to go buy all of this freeze-dried stuff. I get this stuff because I love eating it. It's good stuff. But if you stock up your pantry and you have a year's worth or 2 years worth, whatever it is that you want to get, let's say 3 years worth of food in your pantry, you went all out and got 3 years worth of food, you can rotate that food. Buy what you eat and eat what you buy. You know that a can of corn is going to last you 3 years. You know that some mashed potatoes or potato flakes is going to last you at least 3 years. You know that pretty much everything that you buy that's in a can or in a dry package is going to last you at least 2 or 3 years without you having to do anything special to it. So fill up your pantry as much as you can. All right, this is my opinion. All right, but you can do what is best for you and then rotate through that stuff. All right, rotate through it. If you have a 2-year supply of food, rotate through it. And every time that you have a gap in your preps, go to the store and fill it in, or wait until there's a sale and fill it in. It's very simple. People try to make it a little more complicated than it has to be. But does it really matter when the climax of this is going to occur? To me, it does not, because I know that eventually it will occur. So why not be prepared for it no matter what? If you're prepared for it today, guess what? And all you do is rotate your stuff and fill in the gaps, then you'll be prepared for it 5 years from now or 3 years from now. But it's been happening, and it's happening right now. Just take a look at inflation, right? How inflation has degraded the value or the purchasing power of your Federal Reserve notes over just the last year and a half or so. Kim's rural life, I really don't know, right? If we were living in a normal world, I would say that it's going through a cycle and that it's going to eventually have an upcycle, just like it has the last 3 or 4 cycles that it's had since its birth. In my opinion, I would say that yes, it's going to go back up, but right now, in my opinion, we are in crypto winter, and we're going to be in crypto winter probably for the next 12 to 18 months or so. I don't think it's hit a bottom. I know that it's done a little turn up a little bit. It's gone up about, I don't know, 15% or so in the last few days, last week or so. But I think it still hasn't hit bottom yet. I can be wrong 100%, so don't take my advice on this. I'm not giving advice. I think that Bitcoin will get down pretty close to $10,000 before it starts its move back up and re-enters into a bull market. All right. So that's what I think. And the reason I think that is because every crypto winter has been about a 90% drop from its high. And a 90% drop from its high is anywhere between 7,000 roughly all the way to about $10,000, $12,000. But I think it's going to be about an 85 to 90% drop. So I'm thinking it's going to hit around 10 grand. But I can be wrong. I could be wrong. It could have already hit the bottom. It's just what I'm thinking. Oh, where are we at? Hello, Ali Roo. How you doing? All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you know what? I think that's going to be it. I really do have to go. I have to prep up for my collaboration with Mike in the Night. Again, if you're on Odyssey, it's going to be here in about another 35, 40 minutes or so on Odyssey. So if you want to go hang out there and check it out, Mike in the Night's pretty good guy. He's been shadow banned so bad on his YouTube channel ever since he started it that he gets, almost no one gets told about his channel. So if you want to go check it out on Odyssey. He also does have a YouTube channel here on YouTube that he really has to censor very much. He's pretty much a truth teller, and a lot of things that he said really in the last few years have really come to pass. But anybody with eyes and ears that can hear and listen and consume information and do their own research, pretty much for the last several years could tell what we're headed to. So I hope that you appreciated this little live stream. Again, for those of you that may be jumping in right now, I'm not going to have a live stream tomorrow morning. All right. I've been burning the candle from both ends, like I said earlier on, and I really do need a break. So tomorrow I'm just going to take a break. I'm not going to upload any videos. Hey, listen, if you want to support the channel, go ahead and watch one of the videos that you haven't watched. All right. That really does help the channel, and it really does help get other people recommended to our community. And the more, the better, because we all need to be prepared. We all need to understand what is coming down the line so that we don't get left behind, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that our governments, no matter what government you live in, no matter what country you live in, our government has forsaken us. Our governments have forsaken us, and you are definitely not on their priority list. Right? I guarantee you that your name, if you're watching this, your name is not on the list to get into one of those bunkers if they get us into a really bad war. Your name is not on it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so it is up to us, we the people, to make sure that we are prepared so that we can preserve not only our sovereignty, but the sovereignty of our nation, right? No matter where you live. That's how you do it. Because in the Vietnam War, there's one reason why we lost the Vietnam War, in my opinion. And the reason was the people. The people of Vietnam, they were preppers. And that country had its people, its preppers, take care of those that were willing to stand up and fight. So we have to be prepared for anything, everything, and always. Having said that, I hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. Go ahead and consume this information and go do your own research. Like I said, I left the link to that article in the description of this video. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for all of your support. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to every one of you and your families. God bless you all. I'm Alaska Prepper, and I'm out. Hey, if you're new to the live stream, or if you're a new subscriber within the last couple of weeks, put I am new in all caps so we can shout you out during the outro. All right, God bless every one of you and have a great weekend.